Well, good evening, folks. This is 3 times in one day again. Can't seem to keep off YouTube. I said I'd post a video having changed my exhaust system, detailed in the previous videos. I'm going to start this one by just stating a fact. It's not a brag or a boast or anything, but I've had 59 motorbikes over the years of various sorts, and I am therefore not to be fooled by thinking that a noisier bike is faster. You know, when you're about 17 and, as I did, remove the baffles out of a two-stroke, for heaven's sake, and thinking, well, hey, it sounds like, a racing bike, I must be going faster. So I'm experienced enough with riding a variety of different bikes not to be fooled by increased noise equals speed. So having said that and established my credentials, I hope, beyond the shadow of a doubt, fitting that exhaust system and removing 100% stock and putting 100% aftermarket on within 24 hours and riding on both times, the bike is definitely faster. It's also louder, but without a doubt the bike is faster, and it is also lighter, obviously, because there's at least 10 kilograms in weight saving by getting rid of the big heavy cans and headers, as per my previous videos. I rode the bike with the standard system, changed it all over and rode it again, same route, and it's definitely faster, noticeably so. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a dyno in my garage, so I can't say, oh, it's X number of bhp, or here's the power curves or whatever. But I noticed that the power band has got higher, so it reaches its optimum power at higher revs than it did before. And when really opening the throttle, it's noticeable. So I'm sure some people have bought bikes with aftermarket headers and or cans on, and therefore you've possibly not known the bike with a full stock system on. Obviously I have, and I would say on my arbitrary James England decibel meter scale of 0 to 10, where 0 is stock and 10 is incredibly loud, at tick over the bike is probably a 1. When accelerating, going full throttle, then I would describe it as a 4.5, even perhaps a 5. But once you reach the cruising speed for a given throttle opening, the noise goes back to, I would say, a 1. So accelerating, you can hear it, but the minute you reach that cruising speed, then you can't hear it as much. It's 1. The other thing about this combination of headers and cans is that when on the overrun, when you let the throttle off, you get a sort of burbling sound, which is completely different from the accelerating sound. It doesn't pop and it doesn't bang. And my bike, as detailed in previous video, I've negated the air injection system, which I understand lowers emissions by diluting the exhaust with air, but it also, I believe, stops popping and banging in the exhaust. Well, my air injection is no longer functioning, and despite that, on the overrun, there's no popping and banging in the cans, just a burble. I would describe the burble as probably a 3 on the volume scale. So, all in all, it's a civilized sort of sound, which is obviously louder than stock, simply because it doesn't have the constricted headers and cans that the stock system has got. But I live in a market town. I drove through the town centre at 30 miles an hour and nobody's doing a double take and thinking who's that person on that excessively loud bike, or thinking that, you know, the Air Force have turned up in a Chinook helicopter. It's not at all noticeable. Having left the town, you know, open road countryside, you can wind back the throttle, and yes, you can hear the exhaust. There will be louder ones, I'm sure, and yes, you can hear it. I'm a bit OCD about quiet bikes, but then again, you know, to have a quiet bike with such a big hefty system on it, which doesn't look that great in my opinion, and that is just my opinion, I hasten to add, I think the increase in noise level is worth it. And obviously no corrosion, no cruddy fins on the top. You know, it's neat, it's sleek, and it's extremely well made, the headers and the cans. There is, as I say, to reiterate, it's definitely faster. Definitely. And the characteristics of the engine have changed. And it's worth doing for that, I think. It's obviously not a race bike, and we're not going to be going round corners and scraping our knees. But having said that, it handles better without the 10.5 kg. It handles differently. As I said in my earlier videos about the exhaust system, I noticed it even when I paddled the bike backwards out my garage up a slight incline. I thought, wow, it's a lot easier to get out the garage. So there are definite benefits to weight saving. So all in all, I was so pleased with it, as you'll have noticed from previous videos. I was so pleased that I sliced the cans and the headers in half. I wouldn't have done that, I can assure you, if I'd not been happy with the noise level. Then I would have just put the stock system back on. I've done that before on other bikes where you just think this is just unlivable with, can't stand it. I would have put them back on. So I'm absolutely happy with it. I think it's money well spent cosmetically. I think it makes the bike look classier. And certainly the Stratus headers and the AEW cans, you know, are well made. So there's a front view, which I didn't put on my previous videos. As you can see, it's all very neat. That's it down at the local petrol station. So there you have it. I'm happy with it. It's definitely faster. It's definitely lighter. And in my opinion, it definitely looks better. So there it is. I'll finish this little spiel with a final picture of my little baby outside Thornton Abbey in North Lincolnshire. There it is, an abbey gatehouse, completed in 1382. It's only about 5 miles from where I live. Unfortunately, thanks to Henry VIII, the abbey is no longer in existence, merely the foundations, which is a shame, because look at the gatehouse. Heaven knows what the abbey must have been like. But that's what happens when you have a monarch like Henry VIII, who decides he's going to establish his own church and demolish everything, the beautiful structures which are still standing in France, which didn't have a Henry VIII. So there it is, a beautiful gatehouse, and in my opinion, a beautiful bike on a beautiful day. What more could you want? Take care if you're out on your bikes, and feel free to send me some photos. My email address is in the description of this video, and I'll stick a video on if people send me pictures. So in the meantime, take care. See you soon. Bye.